Hi, readers! Today in Home of the Brave, we are going to start with the chapter titled The Question. All afternoon my belly aches. Maybe I should have eaten more, I tell myself. But I know the hurt of hunger well. Hunger is a wild dog gnawing on a dry bone. Mad with impatience, but hoping still. It isn't hunger I feel today, the pain is worse, one without pity like an icy night. This pain is a question, the one my heart will not stop asking. Why am I here? When so many others are not? Why should I have a desk and a pair of fine jeans and a soft place for my head to rest? Why should I have the freedom to hope while my brother and father sleep in bloodied earth? I should not take these gifts I do not deserve. And yet I know I still will take them. Warm food and a soft bed, fresh hope holding on tight as the wild dog to his bone. The next chapter is called Apple. What we just learned in the previous chapter is that Kek is feeling a little bit guilty for having all these great things in America when people back home in Sudan are still suffering so much. Apple. Before ESL, we have homeroom. I don't much like it. In my homeroom are only 3 other ESL students, and I don't speak their words. All the rest are from America. One morning, a folded paper waits on my homeroom desk. I think maybe it's a note to pass. I've seen other students hand paper to each other during the loud man in the wall named announcements. It's exciting to think I might already have a homeroom friend. When I open it, I see a picture. It's not a good drawing, but after a moment, I can see it's a dead body made of bones. "Hungry, Kenya?" a boy in the back asks. His voice has knives in it. He holds up an apple half eaten. "None for me, thank you," I say, using my polite English words. "And my home," I add, "is not Kenya, it's Sudan." He tosses the apple across the room. It lands on my desk and drops to the floor. My homeroom teacher looks up from his newspaper. "Can the flying fruit," he says. That means stop it, cut it out. Of course I don't want the apple to be wasted. I pick it up off the floor and throw it back to the boy. It hits him on the nose. "I'm a fine thrower of rocks and balls. It's not my fault the boy moved." The teacher gives me a detention slip. I'm not sure what this means, but I do know I'm the only one in class who receives one. I feel very lucky to be selected by my teacher for such an honor. So, he doesn't know that detention is a bad thing. Grocery store. The next afternoon, Hannah invites me to visit the grocery store with her. Her mother she calls a foster, has asked her to buy some food for dinner. We take another bus to a place of many cars and neat rows. By the time we get there, the sun has already said goodnight. "That's it," Hannah says, "Safeway." "There isn't enough food in the world to fill such a building," I say. I follow her inside, and she grabs a shiny cart. "You don't pay for this fine cart?" I ask. "You just borrow it," she explains. The grocery store has rows and rows of color, of light, of easy hope. Hannah moves down the aisle, and I stand like a tree rooted firm. My eye is too full of this place, with its answers to prayers on every shelf. Hannah glances over her shoulder. "You okay?" she asks. I reach out and touch a piece of bright green food I'd never seen before, and then I begin to cry. Hannah rushes to my side. "It's okay," she says. "We can leave if you want." She takes my hand, and we leave the empty cart and go outside. We sit on the icy bench and wait for the bus. A car whooshes past. Its lights cut the gloom like the eyes of a great cat prowling for food in the moonlight. So he's never seen so much food before. Where he comes from, remember, sometimes he would wait for hours and hours and hours in line just to receive a handful of corn. So seeing all that food is a bit overwhelming for Kek. The story I tell Hannah on the way home. In our tent in the camp, a baby was dying. Flies teased her eyes and her arms hung like broken sticks. Her mother was not much older than I am. All day long she whispered to the baby, "Drink, drink, drink." All day, all night, we couldn't sleep for the sound of it. But the baby had been hungry for too long, and the bottle went untouched. And after a while, the mother stopped rocking and went silent. When the baby died, she covered her child with a feed sack, and she said to no one. I told her to eat. Why wouldn't she eat? When I'm done with the story, I stare out the window at the sunless world. Hannah stares at me. This time, she's the one who cannot find any words. This chapter is called Library. Ms. Hernandez and Mr. Franklin take us to the school library twice a week. It's filled with books on shelves climbing to the ceiling like little buildings. Each book is like a door waiting to be unlocked. Today I sit at a table, but I don't pick a book to read like everyone else in class. Today, I don't know why, feels like the day at the grocery store. Today I'm thinking of how my mother always wanted to learn to read, to own a book, to open one of these magical presents and see what's inside. Ms. Hernandez shows me a book about cows. She asked me to find a picture of a cow like Gall, but I tell her I don't feel in the library mood today. That's okay, she says. I know how that goes. It's just so hard to choose, I add. There are so many books, and where I come from, there are hardly any. Ms. Hernandez nods. I felt that way a lot when I first came here. Once I went to the mall and ended up hiding in the corner of a clothes store. It was just too many lights, too many clothes, you know? And I still feel kind of funny at movies. Have you been to a movie yet? I shake my head. Not one of the big movies, but I did see a little one on the flying boat. I went to a grocery store, though. I whisper the last word, cry. Ms. Hernandez pats my hand. It's just too much sometimes, isn't it? When you had almost nothing, and when you know that people still have so little. I don't know what to do with it all, I say. I kick at a chair leg. To have all this food and all these books and all this freedom, I feel sort of, I don't know the word, too lucky. It's a big gift, she agrees. I reach for the cow book. My father would have liked this book, I say. I'd like to hear about your family, Miss Hernandez says. I think for a minute. My father was a fine singer, I say. Tell me more, Miss Hernandez says. And I do. See you next time.